and being with us on Monday night at 7 o'clock. Good win. Tell us a little bit about this team you went up against, Coach Chattahoochee. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it's a Fulton County school, and they won the state championship, I think 2010 or 11, one of them years. So, I mean, really have been really good. They're down a little bit by what their standards were. But, you know, for up here in the mountains, we had never beaten a school. 60 years they've been Pickens High School. They haven't beaten anybody from Fulton County and hadn't beaten anybody a few classifications above them. So anytime you can do that, you know, that's a good day for us, a good test for us to see where we stand. And I was really proud of the effort. I thought the guys played hard. I thought, you know, it represented the school and the community well. And, you know, it was a good day for us. It was.
The Dragons went down last Friday night, and they were 49-19 over Chattahoochee with Coach winning. You had 7-7 after the end of the first quarter, but it looked like things opened up for you after that. And let me say, because I know all last season I asked you when you was going to throw the ball, but I think you were 6 for 7. Kind of opened up the field right out of the box.
Big time.
Right out of the box.
Big time. Yeah, we worked all off season for those 7 plays.
Yes.
And no, all we're trying to do is just score more points than the other team, and sometimes we throw it, sometimes we don't. We called the same running play 30-something times Friday. So, you know, we scored to start the game, and then I believe we got the ball back and fumbled, and they scored, and that's how it got to be 7-7. So, Coach Nelson runs defense with Coach Parker. They did a great job. So he brought some defensive guys, a defensive coach today. I thought the defense played great, gave some good field position, and the offense controlled the ball. And, you know, we gave up a kick return for a touchdown, which wasn't good. And we fumbled the ball, and they ran it in for a touchdown, which wasn't good. But defensively, you know, they only moved the ball on one possession, really. And they had a very good quarterback, had a lot of talented guys. So I was really proud of the effort, you know, across the board, but I was really proud of the defense. And, you know, it was nice that when we did call pass plays, they were open, and we converted them. And pass protection was pretty good. The quarterback made a good throw. We caught the ball, which sometimes that's been the issue in the past. It only takes one of those things to break down, you know, to make the play not work. But overall, execution was very good. And, you know, now we're kind of at a point where we just, you know, we got to forget that one because it was too good almost. It was a very good performance as a whole. We got to move on to the next game. You know, just almost like when you lose, you got to get over it and get on to the next game. Sometimes when you win and play really well, or play maybe a lot better than you intended
Emotion's
to play,
emotion.
You got to get back
if you really get high on
Right.
emotion with a win or down with a loss, you still have to bring that emotion into balance for those games. Coach Nelson, the defensive line, your defense has been playing well for several years. It looks like you're going to start out, guys, congratulations. It looks like you're going to start out with a nice, strong, solid defensive performance this year in the first game. Talk a little bit about rotating. Well, Pickens is still a small school, Pickens County, and you're obviously every year having to bring some new players up, rotate some guys off the sideline, some guys that's even come up from middle school or whatever. But talk about this year's defensive line that you have put together.
We got some experienced guys back. Nick over here is one of them that's been with us a couple years, running on the inside there at nose, and now this year at tackle. Along with Alex Pittman, our 2 guys that have the most experience. And then we're bringing in other guys like Devin Grant off the edge on the weak side. And then we got some young guys coming in that played JV last year, and even freshmen that we rolled in a little bit during Friday night's game. We expect the kids to come in, and it doesn't matter who we put in, we expect them to come in and give a 100% effort. And we trust that they're going to do the job that they've worked hard at all summer. I thought Friday night we saw a lot of that. We saw some mistakes and kids that made mistakes, but they made them aggressively and flying to the ball, and you can work with that and fix that on the go. And a lot of times we'd pull a kid out and send another one back in and coach him up and then put him right back out there. So we got a lot of experience for the younger kids later in the game, but we actually put some kids in early that we had to, and just had to go with them and let them get their feet wet on that first game. So it was a good game to get some kids in early and get them some experience.
It's that kind of game to get the guys to work in. if you've seen a mistake, you could pull a guy out, talk to him about it, and it's that kind of game.
We played a bunch of people. We got a bunch of guys on the team, and one of our philosophies, we're gonna play a bunch of people, and like Coach Nelson, he probably played about 10 or 11 defensive linemen. And just try to keep them fresh. We play 4 different running backs. We play different people on the offensive line. Different linebackers roll in and out. We're trying to make sure that we're ready to go in the fourth quarter. Of course, fourth quarter in that game was a running clock. But they're not always going to be like that. And we're going to play a bunch of kids. So.
Coach, you have an off week. It's kind of unusual to have an off week, second weekend, and then it's just take off after that and play football the rest of the season. Is that difficult, having an off week after the first one, knowing you got to finish the season out just one right after another now?
It depends on what you're trying to. It just depends. We don't worry about stuff we can't control, but I guess if you're winning or playing well, it's sometimes you want to just keep playing. If you're not playing well, then sometimes it's good to get a break and regroup. You got people hurt and stuff like that. But this the way the schedule's set up, we got a new region now where we play 6 region games instead of 7, so we got to pick up 4 non-region games and basically got 5 weeks to pick them up. And you're at the mercy of whoever will play you. We wouldn't have played Chattahoochee if we wouldn't have gone to Fulton County to get somebody to play if some teams up here would play us, but they wouldn't. So we're playing Chattahoochee, we're going to play Pepperell, North Hall, North Side because they play us. So sometimes you just got to match the week you can play. If it was a perfect world, we'd have played every week until maybe that week before the region and then took off, But, all we could do was pick the teams that would play us and what dates they could play. Or we're going to get stuck playing like Buford or something like that, on the schedule we wanted. So, I was happy with the way the schedule fell out. I think it's competitive, but we can hang with those teams, and it'll be a good test for us as we move forward, and that was what was great about Friday.
RJ, we got about a minute and a half before our first commercial. What did you see on the sideline? He can tell me anything. I got to know from you. Do you have a question for one of these guys here on the end?
I'll get a question for both Nick and Michael. You both played really well on Friday and had some good success. What did you guys see on the field? You're going against the quarterback that can do both run and pass well, and you're going to see that later on in the region schedule. What did you see out there on Friday, and what led to some defensive success for y'all?
You want to go first? Yeah. Okay. So, we watched film on their quarterback, and we saw a lot that he would roll out of the pocket because he never really stepped up that much. So what we kind of focused on defense was containing him, getting our defensive ends around the outside so he'd step up in the pocket so either I or one of our linebackers could take him out. And so that's what we did a lot with the quarterback, yeah.
And the secondary, we just stayed with our guys because when he would roll out, we did a bunch of scramble drills in practice, and they would scramble and try to find open spots in the field, and we just tried to shut them down.
Okay, you're watching Pickens Power Half Hour Dragon Talk. It's season 3. We're here with Coach Parker and Coach Nelson tonight, and I'm here with my co-host RJ Casey. I am BKP. We'll be back right after these brief messages. Take us to break.
The 50-50 sale is back at Schottenkirk Ford. 50 trucks must go in the next 50 hours. Shop over 250 trucks in stock and starting as low as $79.95. And there's several more on the lot just like it. Yes, 50 trucks must go. And not just Fords. We have all the best makes and models. You have 50 hours to cash in on huge savings. Don't miss our 50-50 sales event at Schottenkirk Ford in Jasper. Online at SchottenkirkFordJasper.com.
While the best athletes gather to compete, the rest of us gather to eat. Pizza Hut's Big Flavor Dipper is here. Almost 2 feet of pizza with 4 flavorful dipping sauces. Big enough to feed the whole team for a small price, just $12.99. The Big Flavor Dipper Pizza, only at Pizza Hut.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
El Rey and Elijah.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Elijah.
And we're back. You're watching Pickens Power Half Hour Dragon Talk, and we're here at Schottenkirk Ford. I want to thank Johnny's New York Style Pizza, and I'm here with my co-host RJ Casey, head coach of the Pickens Dragons, Chris Parker, defensive line coach Nelson, and who are these two young men?
Defensive lineman Nick Southern and defensive back Michael Casey.
Way to go. Hey, this year is a little different. This is Region 4. Wait a minute. Quad A, Region 6. Wasn't it 7 last year?
Yeah, we usually are 7.
So I just got that down. Quad A, Region 7.
6 Quad A.
6 Quad A.
Yeah, 6 Quad
and
A.
This year we're looking at Southeast, Whitfield County, Heritage, Lafayette, Ridgeland, Pickens, Northwest Whitfield, and Gilmer. That's how the region breaks up. 6 Quad A this year. And Coach, you did put a lot of third down attempts. Was 11. You were 8 for 11, 72%. You had 1 fourth down attempt. Total yards, 500 yards. This week, how do you prepare for, with an off week, you're going to, is that Pepperell?
Yeah, Pepperell.
Yeah, Pembroke.
Pepperell, and that's not till September 2nd,
Yeah.
and that's a home game. That's your first
Yeah, we're
home
off next week, then we'll play at home.
September 2nd. Yeah. It's your first home game.
Second.
And we'll, you know, Pepperell's got a good team. They make the playoffs about every year. They're a smaller school than us. You know, we played Chattahoochee. They were a bigger school than us, but they were struggling a little bit.
Pepperell's
Pepperell is a smaller school, but they're very successful. Got a lot of history there. They play hard. They got good coaches, do a good job. Players play hard. You know, we hadn't seen much of them, but we'll see them. They play Ridgeland this week, so, you know, that's a team. Ridgeland's a team that, you know, was in our region, and at least, you know, we can hang with. They beat us a couple years ago, and, you know, we beat them in a close game last year. So, you know, you can kind of get a feel for what, you know, what we're going to see, I guess, from them when they play Ridgeland Friday. We're off. But it'll be a challenge. All 4 of these non-region games we have are kind of different types of challenges. This is one of the schools that we're the only school that we're playing that we're a little bigger than of school, but it's got a lot of history. They're traditionally pretty good. Got good coaches, got good players, so it'll be interesting to see.
Generally, in the off season, you like you said, this year, County having to go where somebody will play you. Right. This year, in the past, we have talked. Usually, you try to take those 4 games and balance out what you're going to see throughout your region. Were you able to do that this year with the teams you got to go up against non-region? I know you want to get a balance of some things you'll see in the region.
You know, the thing for us is we've been very fortunate. We got good support here. We got good players, really good coaches, people like Coach Nelson. We got an unbelievable group of assistant coaches, players. We got good support from people like you guys. You know, we've got a lot of good things that happened for us the last 3 or 4 years. Since we've been doing this show, we won 17, lost 4, you know, in the regular season.
Oh, we don't bring up the kicker.
But we don't bring up the kicker.
No, we don't.
But you know, one thing we haven't done, and where I'm going is like what we kind of thought about in off season was one thing we really haven't done is, you know, we've won a bunch of games. We kind of struggled once we gotten into the playoffs. And so we really want to be more prepared than we've ever been in November. You know, you came out and watched against Marist last year, and we played well for about 3 quarters and then lost. So, I mean, we tried to set knowing that we what was in front of us was the non-region schedule was going to be tougher than we wanted it to be. Let's put it that way. I mean, we would have preferred to play teams that were more like us in our classification, but we weren't able to do that. So we went ahead and said, let's try to schedule teams that we think will help us in the 12th game, 11th game, 13th game, however many games we can
Absolutely.
play. And if we win or lose, no big deal. And we told the guys that going in, we may beat Chattahoochee, we may not. Really doesn't matter. You know, we just got to get better because the region games are going to matter. I think in that regard, then yes, I think we accomplished that goal with scheduling these 4 teams. The challenge was just with scheduling, you got to match the home and away and the date, and the team's got to want to play you, and so sometimes you are at the mercy of just who will fit in that box. But I think we found teams that'll challenge us, but they aren't teams that are guaranteed losses. You know, like if we go to play Buford, it's going to be hard to beat.
Well, let me say this: Marist last year, and I know some of the fans at home don't want to hear me put it this way, but you got yourself on the scoreboard. Okay, and I've seen teams go down and couldn't get on the scoreboard. So you got on the scoreboard.
No comment.
I was very proud of the team. No, Marist is a tough place.
Well, I
to
thought
go
we
play.
played well for 3 quarters.
It's cold on that water.
Yeah.
It's a tough place to go play, and the team did play well. Coach Nelson, on the defense, and I'm going to turn it over to RJ. On the defense, the 4 teams that you are playing, including this one last week, are you getting a look at some of the different offense that you want to look at throughout the region that you know is coming up to prepare?
we have seen spread. A lot of teams in the region have gone to a version of the spread. We'll see some wing tee this year and things like that. I think as we move through these next 4 games, we're going to see some different looking offenses in addition to the spread. So that'll help us, with the upcoming region schedule. Even last week, even though they ran some spread at Coosa, they also got in and ran some I-backs, so we got to see some power and some between the tackles, just hard-nosed running. So it gave us a chance to look at that for the upcoming season. There'll be some teams that will do that.
In the next 3 weeks, you think you might see some speed to test the defense a little bit going into the region?
Yeah, I think each week we go in, we're going to see teams that are going to have skilled players that are going to match or push us and to the best of our ability, and I think that's week in and week out up here, and it's always a challenge. But I think that the kids each week, they get used to the speed they're seeing and they adjust to it each week.
RJ, what you got for them?
Well, going back to last week, and I guess counting the scrimmage game too, who are some of the standouts? And Coach Nelson, this is for you too. Who are some of the standouts you've seen so far? We've got 2 of the kids here that played well last week. Yep.
Well, I mean, I've been really pleased with the groups as a whole. I think the offensive line has been good as a whole. The defensive line has been good as a whole. Quarterback's been solid. The backs, I think we had 4 running backs that all we rolled in Friday, and they had 30-something carries for 300 yards between them, 7 touchdowns. So it's really premature probably to say like one kid. I hate to leave somebody out, but I know in football, as these guys know, you're only as good as the worst player, right? Not the best one. So everybody on the team, however good that worst guy is, that's how quality be. And I think the depth on our team, and this is our 5th year working together with these guys, and we got good middle school coaches, we got a good sub-varsity program, we haven't lost many JV games, and there's been an element of these guys just building their way up, where we probably got more depth than we ever had. So the biggest positive might just be that as a team, the guys have played well together. I've been pleased with the seniors. It's 20-something of them. They all been pretty productive, and most of them have been able to. Some guys, there were several guys on the defense coach that probably were playing their first meaningful varsity game Friday, and basically all but shut a team down that I thought was pretty good. I was terrified of going into the game. So
5 sacks.
Yeah, I was proud of the guy that Coach Nelson coached them up.
5 sacks. Let me go over some quick highlights before we go to another break. On the offense, and we'll go over the defensive stats before we leave tonight. But on the offense, Jacob Brumby was 5 for 6 for 143 yards, 2 TDs, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We had 7 guys touch the ball. Always good when you can spread it around. And on rushing, and 48 carries, 356 yards on the ground, averaging 7.4 yards a carry, 4 TDs. The longest one was 43. Leading rusher was Chris Pittman, 16 for 133 yards. And Dylan Huffman, 6 carries for 77 yards. Receiving, Alex Pittman, 1 for 42 yards. And Dylan Huffman, 1 for 66 yards. That was the long of the night. So that's some of the offensive stats, and we'll go over some defensive stats when we get back. I'm your host, BKP. You're watching Pickens Power Half-Hour Dragon Talk, live here from Schottenkirk Ford with my co-host, RJ Casey. We'll be back after these messages.
The summer sell down is on at Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings up to 16% off MSRP. Save over $4,100 off Malibu Limited, now just $19,500. Save $9,500 on loaded Silverado Crew Cab LT, now only $38,700. Save up to 16% off MSRP on select new Chevys in stock during the summer sell down, going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Introducing Pizza Hut's first $5 flavor menu. Just $5 each when you order 2 or more. Say yes to a medium one-topping pizza. Yes to Wing Street Wings. Yes to new stuffed garlic knots. And much more. It's easy to say yes to our first ever $5 flavor menu. Only at Pizza Hut.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
And we're back. I'm BKP. I have to get out of this truck. Really? Are we back? I don't want to get out
Come
of
on.
this truck. I'm in this F-150 King Ranch here. You're watching Pickens Power Half-Hour Dragon Talk. I didn't want to get out of that truck, RJ.
Yeah, so
I'm
you
your
guys
host.
know,
Huh?
on the brakes, he just sits.
That's what
in
I
that
do.
truck.
That's what I do. I sit in the
Yeah.
truck. I tell you what, I'm here with my co-host RJ Casey, head coach Chris Parker with the Pickens Dragon, defensive line coach Nelson. Okay, RJ, take it away for these young men. Introduce them again. Let people know who we have here. And what do you have? We was talking during the break. You wanted to give them a question.
We got defensive lineman Nick Southern and defensive back Michael Casey with us. Gentlemen, you've been with the program for a couple of years now. You've gotten to know these guys. How's it like playing under Coach Parker and Coach Nelson?
You know, it's good. They definitely push us to where we need to be for like the next game. You know, it's always the next game. You know, what's up next and what we need to do and all that kind of stuff. You know, we worked really hard since like spring all the way to now. And it's just worked out pretty good so far.
So far, it's working out pretty good so far.
Well, you know, I heard right before I moved up here, like my dad was telling me that the football team, you know, was kind of horrible under Coach Sewell, or they didn't really play any good games. And then Coach Parker came, and, you know, he changed the team, turned the team around, and I came out to play in 10th grade, and, you know, I didn't really play that much except for in JV, and, you know, I play varsity now, and he's a good coach. I like playing for him.
Now, you know they got to say that because they got 9.
I was
games.
gathering.
It's a loaded question.
I was
but,
gathering you're okay.
Yeah,
That's what I gathered.
But I will say, you know, because we don't have a team to talk about next week that much, I'll take my moment here to, you know, say we really are proud of all the guys. We've got a great group of guys. Most of them, we're at the point now where we've got 20, 30, 40 people per grade on the team. You know, I mean, if you go down to 7th grade up, you know, some of them grades got 50 on the team. So, you know, we got about 125 guys on the team. And so 114 of them are sitting on the bench, you know, every play. And it takes guys coming through the program all the way up to get to play, and they're having to earn it. And we just got really good seniors now that have been with us all 4 years. We got really good assistant coaches. You know, Coach Nelson, one of the best coaches in all of Georgia, no joke. And we got some other guys too. You know, I mean, we got 6 or 7 assistant coaches who've been the coordinators or head coaches other places, and we just got a real good support group. And I appreciate all the nice things these guys said about us, but I got to clarify that, you know, Coach Parker really hadn't done anything. All of us together, you know, including the support we get from the community, from people like, you know, these businesses, you guys, you know, have all been very supportive of us. And it has now, the 5th year we're doing this together, it has seemed to, you know, kind of success has bred a little more success, and the kids believe and they're trying and doing the little things right. And so it's always nice to be at a place like that. So, I mean, we're way more happy to be with these guys than they are to be with us, believe it or not. Even though we don't probably always show it to them, they're being nice.
We've only got 3 or 4 minutes, and I know people out there want to know. Tell us a little bit about this region. Now, your team here, it was right on the edge. You were right on the edge of having to maybe go up to 5A last year. Got right down to the last couple days, and you ended up staying in 4A with this quad. 6 quad A. All right, it's going to take me all season to get that down. So tell us about this region, Coach. Talk about this region, the restructuring, and how you feel about it, and some things you're going to see.
It's the same region that we had the last 2 years without Cartersville, who was far and away the best team. So in that regard, just that in itself sounds a lot better, you know. So we basically play, you know, I mean, we are very familiar with every team in our region. We played them at least for the last 2 years.
Cartersville wasn't balanced. I mean, it just wasn't balanced in that region.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we were really disappointed we don't get to play them this year. RJ picked up on my sarcasm. They were just really good. The guy, I mean, Coach Joey King does a great job, got good players, take nothing away. They won the state championship. They shut out Buford. I was actually really down on how I thought we didn't play very well on offense. They shut us out last year, and then they shut out Buford. And I figured, well, us and Buford scored the same amount of points. So, you know, I felt pretty good about that. But as the region moves forward, Northwest Whitfield is very talented. They got a lot of guys back. Ridgeland's very talented. They got a lot of guys back. Heritage has got a lot of guys back. You know, Gilmer's got a new coach, but you know, obviously they're going to play us hard, and they're going to play hard in the game like they always do. You know, teams like Lafayette kind of seem to be, you know, improving. Southeast Whitfield, I don't really know much about them, but they've been trending up the last few years. So I think our region probably is, you know, even without Cartersville, there's 3, maybe 4 teams in that region. Hopefully we're one of them that, you know, maybe doing better than we've done in the past. And so I think it's a real competitive region. It'll be interesting to see who can come out of that region. No team's out of it.
Well, I will tell you this: if Northwest Whitfield, and I know our friend Tank is waiting for us to get over there and say hello, right?
Yeah,
and I think he's solid this year.
How are you?
You say hello to Coach Tank. But I will say, if Northwest Whitfield has brought, if they were able to return a lot of players, I watched them last year. They should be strong in the region.
Yeah, the quarterback's really good.
So this should be a balance. This should be a balanced.
I say Ridgeland and Northwest are better than they were last year. You know, a little bit I know about them, and it's hard for us to judge our team. We're going to play as hard as we can play, but you know, those other teams seem to be pretty good. Heritage is going to be pretty good. You know, and like I said, you know, teams like Gilmer are going to play us tough. Gilmer's always, you know, going to be a big game for us and be a tough game. So, you know, I just look at all those teams kind of jumbled in, and we'll see who shakes out. You know, a lot can happen from now to 7-8 weeks from now. You know.
Well, guys, we got one under our belt. We got one game under our belt. We got one show under our belt, season 3. We appreciate you guys coming out. We know you're going to put a lot of hard work in the off week, okay? So we appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm your host, BKP, here with my co-host, RJ Casey. You've been watching Pickens Power Half Hour Dragon Talk. Let me just say the Dragons wrapped up 64 tackles, 34 solo, and 30 assists. Chris Pittman, 2 punts, 72 yards. His 36 was 39 was long, and we don't talk about the kicker, especially I don't. Coach, thank you. We'll see you in 2 weeks, because next week we don't have a game, so we won't be back here. Next Monday we'll be back in 2 weeks. RJ, you be back? Guys, eat the pizza. As long as we got pizza, Johnny's New York Style Pizza, Schottenkirk Ford. We're out of here. Don't forget, tomorrow at 7, another sports show, and Wednesday at 7, another sports show. So plenty, and tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., Good Morning from the Office with your host, BKP. We're out of here. We'll see you in 2 weeks right here. Pickens Power Half Hour Dragon Talk.